So that should be going. And then, yeah, welcome. I want to just introduce myself real quick. My name is Paige Flam. I am the marketing manager with Giv.care. I'm also a parent of 2 children with a disability. I have a son with autism and a daughter with cerebral palsy. So I definitely understand the world that most of you are all living in and where you're coming from. And I understand how hard caregiving can be and finding caregivers and all of it. So we just appreciate you guys so much and for you guys taking the time to be here today. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off, and then I'm going to share my slides for the recording. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, and then I'm just going to assume that everyone can see this, and if I start talking and you can't see it, then someone let me know. All right. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today. We're grateful for the opportunity to provide more caregiver trainings in the new year. Last year, some of you will remember that we sent out surveys to caregivers to get an idea of how we were doing as a company, and many of you responded that you would like more training, a stronger connection to the company, and an overall bigger picture of what is happening within the day-to-day at Giv.care. We might not always be able to do an official sit-down training with everyone live like this, but we have been creating training videos that are available on our YouTube channel and soon to be on our website so that you can feel connected and have the tools that you need as a caregiver. And we will send emails out to those new trainings as they become available. This month, we did want to formally discuss note-taking and how the notes that you write as a caregiver directly impact the person who's receiving services. Caregiver notes are important because they help both us as a provider and Medicaid at the state level know what is happening during caregiving shifts. Every 3 months, we submit a quarterly summary to the state to justify the continuation of services for the individual with a disability. Medicaid ultimately wants to know these 4 things when looking at a quarterly summary. What was done to work towards the goal of the client? What was done to reach the goal of community engagement? What was the overall behavior of the client? Has any progress or regression been observed? When you're writing notes, please write them with these things in mind. The better notes you write, the better quarterly summary we can write, which means that the state will continue funding caregiving for the individual and you as a caregiver will still have employment with that individual. Caregiving is just like any other medical profession. You should see your role as a caregiver the same way you would the job of another healthcare worker. When you visit a doctor, they're writing notes about your visits. These notes are used to seek reimbursement from insurance, help other providers have a good idea of your medical history, and to keep a written record of how you're doing as a patient. Caregiving isn't very different, which is why a written record of your caregiving shifts are crucial to the overall well-being of the person in services. In our Caregiver mobile app, you're prompted when to clock in, clock out, and when and where to write your notes for each shift. In the screenshot, you'll be able to see the fields you're required to fill out for each shift. The notes section is where you will write your notes. In this section, we do not need a written novel for each shift. We simply need a few short sentences on what was actually done during the shift. This can look like, today Jenny and I went to the park. We worked on hand washing and brushing teeth. I helped Jenny make lunch. Jenny was agitated and complained a lot while we were working on ADLs, but her behavior was pleasant the rest of the day. Medicaid wants to know the good and the bad, so don't be afraid to write about the client's behaviors and things that were hard during the shift. Your notes really can be that simple. We have seen a lot of notes over the last few months that look like, we had fun. Today was great. Great shift. While we are glad to hear that people are having fun on their caregiving shifts, these notes are not very helpful for us as a provider when we write a quarterly summary for your client and need to justify the continuation of services. We get that typing your notes on a phone might feel cumbersome or annoying for some individuals. When you click into the notes box, the bottom right-hand corner of your keyboard has a little microphone. You can use this in the mobile app to voice to text your notes to make this even faster. We really don't care about punctuation and the notes looking perfect. We just want to know what's happening, so don't feel like you have to have perfect notes every single time. At the end of your shift, the app gives you a section to report any critical incidents. Medicaid defines a critical incident as any actual or alleged event or situation that creates a significant risk or substantial or serious harm to the physical or mental health, safety, or well-being of a waiver participant. To add to that, we would say that a critical incident would also be defined as any of those above mentioned things happening to a caregiver during their shift. Examples of critical incidents would include the client having a significant decline in health or having a sudden injury that requires seeking medical treatment during a caregiving shift, the client threatening to harm themselves or someone else during a shift, or the client running away or putting themselves in harm's way during a shift. These are just a few of the things that would be classified as a critical incident. If you're ever in doubt, please report anything you may consider to be a critical incident, and our agency team will move through the appropriate protocols to ensure the health and safety of everyone involved. If you write something serious that happens in the note section, we don't see those notes until the next time we go to write a quarterly summary. So if it is a critical incident and it's put into the proper field, it will alert the agency team so we can move through the appropriate protocols for a critical incident. We hope this guide was helpful for you to better understand how to write your caregiver notes and the importance that these notes play in the life and well-being of the client you serve. If you ever have any questions, please reach out to our team via email at support@Giv.care. So now we wanted to open the floor to the rest of you and allow you guys to ask any questions that you might have about note-taking, or just if you have any questions or comments or concerns about Giv.care in general. We would love for you to use the raise your hand function and we can go through any questions that you guys might have. Jennifer, go ahead.
Thank you, Paige. Excuse me. You mentioned quickly 4 items that you wanted or reviewed. Is there any way that you could send those out or review those again?
Yes, so I will briefly say those again on this call, and I can send this out in an email again afterwards. And I do believe that we will be having an update coming to the mobile app that does focus the questions at the end of the shift to go towards these 4 questions, so you kind of have it in front of you. But those 4 things are: what was done to work towards the goals of the client, what was done to reach the goal of community engagement, what was the overall behavior of the client, and has any progress or regression been observed? So those are the 4 things that Medicaid has specifically said that they want to hear from us when we're writing the quarterly summaries. And so those are the things that we need from the caregivers writing the notes so that we can build those summaries off of them. Billy, did you have something you'd like to ask?
Yeah, so like with me, I've noticed that I've talked to my support coordinator about it, and my new goal hasn't showed up yet. So I've been wondering, like, what's going on, if that's happening or whatever, because I've still got the old goal, and so we still got that popping up instead of my current goal that we set with my support coordinator.
Yeah, I think I see Anna has her hand raised and she works with Giv, so I'm going to pass that over to her and see if she has an answer for you.
Hey, Billy. Yeah, this is Anna here. I'm guessing, so if that was updated, obviously, on your personal centered support plan for the new budget year, that didn't pull into our dash. So I will look at that here while we're on the call, and it should update immediately. And if it was already updated and not pulling for some reason, we'll take a look at that on our end.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Was there any other questions from anyone else?
Hey, Paige, this is Jim. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
Oh, sorry, Jen. I just recognize a couple names that have been here for a year or close to a year. I just wanted to give a shout out to those people and thank you guys for bearing with us as we've built these systems and built the notes. And it means a lot to us to have you guys. This is an industry with high turnover, unfortunately. So to see you guys sticking with this and testing out our system is a big deal. So just a quick shout out to all of you, but a few specific families that have been here since almost day one. Pretty cool to see.
Thanks, Jim. Jen, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to voice, Deborah put a question in the chat and she asked, does the family have access to the notes we've written? So I just wanted to answer that for everybody. When a caregiver leaves those notes on each shift, then the client's parent or guardian, whoever's the one using their Giv app to schedule those shifts, they can click into those shifts after they've been completed and see those notes anytime. as well as other people who will see those notes would be obviously employees at Give. So when we're writing these quarterly summaries, that's where we're pulling the information from, these notes, and then the support coordinators working with the clients. So that group of people will all see those notes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jen. Was there anyone else that had a question or anything they'd like to share? Deborah. Oh, you're on mute.
How do we know what the goals are? I mean, I've never seen a goal for my specific assignment. And what does ADL stand for?
So ADLs are activities of daily living. So those are things such as brushing teeth, doing hair, getting dressed, showering, anything that kind of goes over those like personal hygiene. And that can also look like cooking meals and just like everything that goes involved in living daily. As far as where to see the goals, I know that those are on the PCSPs that are made with the support coordinator. I don't know if they're housed anywhere within our software that you can see on a regular basis. Jen might have a better answer for that about the goals specifically. So I'll let her answer that.
Yeah, Deborah, that is a fantastic question. We are working with our development team to be able to carry those goals over so you can kind of see a basic client profile. So their likes, dislikes, allergies, their goals, things like that. So we do have an update coming that will allow you to see all of that information directly from your app. Right now, it's a little tricky to access it. But you're also welcome to sit down with the client or the client's parent or guardian and discuss with them what is the client working on right now, what are they trying to accomplish, or they may direct you, if they have specific goals, they might post those on the shift. So the individual scheduling shifts for clients can also add directives on their end. So we do need the caregiver shifts on your side, but parents and guardians are welcome to add additional notes in as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Jen. Shaylin, did you have a question?
I was just going to say, I'm relatively new, but our support coordinator is the person that made the goals, helped me make my children's goals. So if the parents, maybe it's been a while and the parents are unaware, they could reach out to their support coordinator and find out what those are. Maybe they need to be updated. So that's all.
Yeah, perfect. And that is definitely a great advice. Your support coordinator should have all of this documented for you as well if you ever have any questions. Desiree, did you have a question?
Yes. Is there any way to get some brochures so we can try to get some more clients down here in Sevier?
Yes. So are you talking about clients as far as people receiving services with Giv.care or more caregivers for you to hire?
There are people for us to give services to.
Okay, yeah. That is something that we can look into getting to you after this call.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been asking to get something like that for a little bit too, down here in Sevier too.
Are you guys support coordinators? Sorry.
They're my caregivers.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Okay, and then Colleen, did you have a question?
I'm looking for more people, but I'm like, I want people. I need people who want shifts. Yeah, we don't have anyone working for us right now. But I also work for the parent center. And so so to know that you're actually from a rural county though, I'm like, ooh, I could connect you with families 100%, way easy. But I'm in Sandy. You probably don't want to come up here for
Yeah, that is.
How do you want it?
That has definitely been the trickier part. We definitely have less clients in the southern Utah area. We have a few, but definitely those more rural counties have been harder to tap into. So we'll look to see what we can do to help you guys out down there as well.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. Karen, go ahead. Oh, your microphone's on. or off. Sorry.
Hi, Kayleen. I worked with Maya in middle school, so I'm probably available if you want to get a hold of me.
Oh my gosh, you should know how to get in touch with me though, or maybe even through Stephanie. You know our friend Stephanie. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, just please send me a message. Like even if it's on Facebook or something, we can connect.
Okay, sounds.
And I can just I can just send you my referral code and you can get it, right? Isn't that just, how it would work, Paige?
Yes, that is how that works.
Good.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay.
Love this. Everyone's just getting connected and friendly.
Yeah.
Love that. This is
Well,
number
and
one.
she would love to even just come and hang out at your house with your daughter and stuff. You know what I mean? Like she would be, she's doing really well. She just wants to like not go to the mall with mom. She would go with you just fine. Like she loves going with Steph, but.
Yeah, Nicole would love that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Please.
Perfect. Were there any other questions that anyone else had?
I'm just going to throw this out there. They can be questions unrelated to caregiver notes as well. So if you guys have questions in general, definitely ask away. Yeah, Karen.
Good.
My question is about the budgets. So how many hours can a caregiver work in a week or month?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We at Giv.care, this is not true for all providers in Utah, but at Giv.care, we limit our caregivers to 40 hours a week. And so our weeks run from Sunday to Saturday. So you can work up to 40 hours within that time frame.
Okay. And what if you have the client for a week at a time? So it would still be, you would just have to separate that out and make it so it's only 40, it's the 40 hours then?
That's right. So every caregiver can work up to 40 hours. So typically you would want to bring in a couple caregivers if a whole week needed to be covered. Some individuals as well, this is kind of up to the caregiver and the parent guardian to decide, but some parents will just pay caregivers for daytime hours. So if they're working through the night, they don't get paid for those hours, just the daytime hours. So kind of up to whatever the parent and caregiver decide.
Okay. Thank you.
Great question. Jennifer, did you have a question?
Yes. I'm having issues with the signing in to the Give app. Is there any basic troubleshooting I could do so I don't have issues, or is this a known issue, or how do I navigate?
Yeah, great question. So sometimes if the mobile app has had an update and you haven't updated your app, that could be a reason. If you're an Apple user, sometimes going into test flight, if you go into the test flight app, the updates for the app can appear there and you can click them to download. But other options might be trying to like foreclose the app, so closing it out all the way and then trying to go back in. Jen might have some more tricks for you than that. So if she knows of anything else, or Anna maybe, then they can hop in with that too. But I think those are usually our general troubleshooting things that we tell people.
Yep, that's right, Paige. Jennifer, what problem exactly are you having?
It just keeps giving me the biometric login info has failed, and so and I can't get in. So I will see if it's my phone, to be quite honest.
Okay, great. I will go ahead and send you an email and we'll make sure that that gets figured out.
Okay, thanks.
I'll take Tammy and then Colleen right after Tammy. Tammy, go ahead.
Okay, if I can figure my phone out right.
Yes.
Okay, so Jennifer, was it Jennifer that just asked about the why you can't get into the app? I had that problem also, but you answered it, Paige. I just had to make sure I had signed out. So if I sign in the morning and then I try to get back in, it won't let me in. So I have to swipe my phone up and close it all, close the app, and then I can sign in. So I don't know if that might be the problem, but you answered it, Paige. It is closing it or those other things that you said.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Colleen,
So I had a question about how do I make sure that, like, what's the difference between caregiver compensation and SLN?
yeah, that is a great question. So caregiver compensation has its own specific code within the SaaS model, which is SL3, I believe. But when those codes come to Give, everything just gets converted straight to SLN. So if you're approved for caregiver compensation and you have 40 hours of SLN in your budget, you could work all 40 of those hours as a caregiver compensation client. So when it comes to Give, everything is just SLN, which stands for supported living. And so that's kind of how that works, is like with Give, there's not really a distinction between the two things. Everything is just all supported living, but caregivers and parent guardians can work those hours the same way. And Anna, I'll let you add to that.
Well, see, my question specifically is I understand that like that SLN is a natural supported living support. So that is someone that lives in the home and stuff. I know that, but oh shoot, no. My question comes from like as taxes are coming in. I know, hey Kira, you got to get him, please. Like caregiver compensation has that waiver that you sign, that I live with this person and I give them care, you know what I mean? And it makes your income tax exempt, where I don't know if like supported living as a code has an exemption form for that.
Anna, take it
So
away.
I'm gonna let Jen, if she's okay with it, actually follow up on that, because this actually came up, so that's great timing. I will add one more note to just close the loop on the other side of the caregiver comp in general. It's actually something we want to touch base on our webinar for next month, but we just want to make sure that folks, understand that how it was explained, that there's obviously the two codes under a SaaS model, but only one under our model. If you ever hear in, trying to get more of a budget or speaking to anyone at the state from the finance department that doesn't love, not having the oversight, etc., those tools are available we can always pull what hours were from the parent versus a different caregiver if that's needed to be shown or proven. Obviously, it's just not two separate codes in our model, but that all exists under our roof and things that we're able to implement and provide. So, it's kind of confusing in the sense that almost caregiver comp goes away under our roof just because we bill all to the same code. But anyone that needs to see what that looks like on paper, we always have available. It's just not accessible in the app.
Okay. And then outside of the app, as far as like our initial, like hiring paperwork, you know what I mean? Like I forgot, and I can't go back through it because I don't know where that sits on my app or on the website, you know what I mean, to look at like my tax forms and stuff like that I filled out. Was there, when I sign up as a caregiver compensation person or SLN or whatever, was there a form that you had us sign?
So yeah,
because it typically would come from like the fiscal agent, but where you guys aren't specifically a fiscal agent, I didn't know if that was part of that package that we signed when we were doing all that paperwork, because it was, I love the app, by the way. Like, as far as that goes, like everybody I've hired is like, what? I can just fill out my I-9 on a Google format. That's awesome. But I forgot if that was part of that.
Yeah, so it was. So every caregiver who signs up and onboards on the app through Giv.care, they fill out a W-4, and it's not the form they fill it out by questions when they first get onto the app. So it looks a little different than the W-4, but it's the same. And so if you ever need your current W-4 information, what we have on file, you can email us at support@Giv.care. And then to go a little deeper into that, because I think you're referring, so the IRS did release a notice a couple years ago, and it is called Notice 2014-7. And so some Medicaid waiver payments are excludable from income under that notice. So that is actually all taken care of on the tax side of things. So as a provider, we don't adjust your income on your W-2. So you'll receive a W-2 just like normal. When you go to file taxes, you can follow IRS instructions for that. And I'm actually going to paste a link into the chat. So this will talk more about it. This is directly from the IRS website. And so, yep, outside of that notice, if anybody is tax exempt and they want to file tax exemption through Giv.care, what we would need is to have you fill out a W-4 with that information. You can pull a W-4 form off the internet from the IRS site and then send it into support@Giv.care. And so we can take your W-4 on that. However, for filing tax exemption from income taxes with notice 2014-7, you would actually do that on your end when you're filing your taxes. And so it's confusing because it's taxes. So we definitely recommend speaking with a tax professional. We are not a fiscal agent or tax professionals. And so definitely to get more information on that, you'd probably want to speak to someone in that field.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I just was, again, we do TurboTax, and yeah, I figured that out the hard way, and you know what I mean, figured it out. But I just didn't know if you still if you provided that form as part of your thing. But if we don't need it because it's going to be part of this 2014-7, I'm familiar with that, so that's great. Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And
So
sorry, Paige, I'm going to voice Deborah's question from the chat. She said, how do you find additional individuals or families that may need help? And I'll let Paige, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so we have a list that we keep, and we can add your name to that list. So then when families reach out saying, hey, I live in Saratoga Springs and I need some more caregivers, then we can send your information to those families who reach out to us saying that they need help. So if anyone on this call is interested in working with additional families, let us know and we can add you to that list that we keep. And as families reach out to us who are looking for more caregivers, we can pass your information on to those families who are more local to your area. So that's a great question. And then Jen, did you want to address Shailene's comment in the chat?
Yes. So just to confirm, Shailene, you are welcome to send us a completed W-4 if you need to update your W-4 information with us. And then when you are filing those taxes, if you follow that link I'm on, I think it's question 11, tells you specific instructions. Here's how you file so that those payments don't count against your income. And so in addition to that, you do have to qualify. So again, we're not the qualifiers here. That would be the IRS. So definitely read through the standards that they have outlined in that link.
Thanks, Jen. And Colleen, I just saw your message in the chat. I can send you after this call our list of available caregivers in the Salt Lake City area so that you can connect with them and see if they might be a good fit for your family.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And because again, I've learned the hard way, when you do get a W-4, you do have to like claim that as income. But even if you're doing like your own TurboTax, you know what I mean? Like there is a way to follow it. In fact, it'll send up these really horrible red flags until you fix it. You know what I mean? Like it's really weird. Like it's like we couldn't figure out what was wrong with our taxes, and that's what it ended up being. But it saved us a lot of money in the end. Just so I mean, again, if you do, you can, even if you're just TurboTaxing it, there is a way to facilitate that form without having like the physical form. Like there's questions it'll ask you to equal it all out.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that, Colleen. Anyone else? Did anyone else have questions that they were wanting to ask? Well, perfect. If you guys think of any questions that you might have in the future, feel free to reach out to our support email. That is support@Giv.care. And either myself or Jen or Anna can get back to you pretty quickly with any questions that you might have. And we will be sending this webinar out in a recording afterwards. So if you want to refer back to it or pass it along to someone else, you're more than welcome to do that. So thank you again for your time today.
Thank you, Paige.
Yep. Thanks, Wade.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.